No perfect seasons. It's going down. Commissioner Flex here to bring you guys the Week 12 edition of the Fantasy Flex. Sorry I missed out on it last week. Like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving last week. I hope everybody had a good one. Had the turkey, the trimmings, and all that. Let's get into a 2-week edition of the show. So I call this the Extra Helpings show, since we got the extra helpings and a little bit of dessert to throw up at the end, since I threw in them trophies. So that should be a little bit of sweetness to go at the end of the show. Let's get up into week 11 though, 2 weeks ago, so don't get it twisted. And then I'll get into last week, the week before, standings, previews, and the trophy show. Now let's get up into week 11. Florida Sharks taking on the Giants, 198 to 190. Sharks taking that matchup. Matchup pretty tight up in the division. Next matchup, we had the late greats taking on the Orlando Pain, 138 to 90. That matchup going to the Pain, so they're still bringing the Pain, as you guys can see here. The 82s taking on the Expendables, 116 to 161. Tallahassee Expendables running through. They've been on a nice streak as of late. Tampa Bay Bulls took on the Woodruff in week 11. That was a close matchup, only being decided by 9 points, 171 to 162. Winner of that one, the Woodruff in the tilt, getting it over the Bulls. And our last matchup for week 11, you had the, the New York Hitmen taking on the K-Town Predators. K-Town Predators have been stumbling the past couple of weeks, as you'll see in the next set of matchups that I bring. 166 to 104, the Hitmen coming out on top on this one. Now we get up into last week, week 12, Thanksgiving week, you know what I'm saying? That was the week that we're previewing today, so we're right now back on track and back on schedule. First off, I want to give a shout out to Matt Noon for pretty much beating my ass and fucking up my Thanksgiving. But yo, I gotta give you the props, dog. You did your thing. 175 to 108. Expendables coming out on top of the Sharks. Leading score for the Tallahassee Expendables, Tom Brady and his fucking 40 points that buried my ass. Leading score for the Sharks, Michael Vick with 31 points in the loss for me. Next matchup went between the K-Town Predators and the Tampa Bay Bulls. Tampa Bay Bulls killed it in this one, 188 to 100. Leading scorer for the Predators, Jamal Charles, 27 points in the loss. Leading scorer for the Bulls, Matt Castle, with 35 points. The irony how the leading scorers in both of those matchups are tied together in real life. Now let's get up into our third matchup. That went between the Woodruff and the late greats. That one went 173 to 105. The Woodruff coming out on top in this matchup once again. Didn't, you know what I'm saying, he was really close to putting out, you know what I'm saying, another high output week. He's normally been doing it, and a big part of that is because Mr. Wood is the owner of Mr. Peyton Hillis, who put up a 42 spot last week. So, you know what I'm saying, doing it big. Late greats leading scorer would be Jay Cutler, who put up 34 points in the loss. The Bronx Giants took on the Orlando Pain. Orlando Pain suffering a rare loss in this one, as they are 10-2 on the year so far. The Bronx Giants coming out on top by 30 points, 130 to 100. Leading scorer for the Giants, Rashard Mendenhall with 24 points. Leading scorer for the Pain, Kyle Orton with 32 points in the loss. And in our last matchup, the final matchup of the week, went between the New York Hitmen and the 82s. The 82s are currently right now underway. I already deleted the owner because he ain't been paying attention and responding to my emails. So I sent out an invite, waiting for my homeboy to come through, take it over, so we can get it back into full effect and full swing next year. You know what I'm saying? Me, as the commish, always looking towards, you know what I'm saying, bigger and better things. Hitmen taking this matchup 163 to 120. Leading scorer for the Hitmen, Dwayne Bowe, 35 points. Leading scorer for the 82s, Aaron Rodgers with 32 points on the week. Or excuse me, 30 points. I gave him 2 points extra. Now we get up into the standings and no perfect seasons. No perfect seasons 2.0 because it used to be 1.0, but I switched it up since we're in the second year. I'm actually thinking about adding a couple teams, but that might be a little bit of a bitch because I'm just realizing now it's a keeper league, so I don't know how I'm going to do that. But, you know what I'm saying, it's either that. I'm planning on trimming down the rosters just to free up the free agent pool because I've had some requests and some emails about it. But let's get up into the North Division right now. That's being headed by the Orlando Pain, 10-2. Right behind him are the Florida Sharks, who are 2 games back, so there's really nothing much I could do right now since I'm not going head-to-head with the man. 8-4 is my record. The Woodruff would be next in line, 2.5 games back with a 7-4-1 record, taking a tie a couple of weeks back. The Bronx Giants are 7-5, 3 games back in the North Division. Then you got the New York Hitmen holding up the rear, 4-7-1. So they were the team, obviously, that tied it up with the Woodruff. In the South Side now, you got that being headed right now by the K-Town Predators, who have been stumbling in recent weeks. So let's see if they can get it in gear moving on up to the playoffs, because stumbling into the playoffs can be a dangerous thing, as many people already know. Right behind him, he's got a pretty comfortable lead going into the playoffs, because both teams behind him and that are chasing him are 3 games back, and we only got 1 week left, obviously. The Tampa Bay Bulls and the Tallahassee Expendable, both sporting identical 5-7 records. Like I said, they're 3 games back. And then you got the late greats, 3-9, 5 games back in the division, and the 82s holding up the back with 2 wins on the year so far, 2-10 for them, 6 games back in the division. Now, as we get into a preview of what's going down this week, you got the 82s taking on the Florida Sharks. The 82s are 2-10 on the year. The Florida Sharks 8-4. Sharks looking to, you know what I'm saying, have a nice march into the playoffs. I actually prefer not to have the bye, but hey, it's cool with me if I got it or if I don't. Looks like I'm not going to have it, so hey, let's keep it moving. V. Woodruff, 7-4-1, taking on the Giants. From the Bronx, 7-5 are they. Then you got the Tampa Bay Bulls and their 5-7 record, taking on the 3-9 late greats. The Tallahassee Expendables with their 5-7 record are taking on the 4-7-1 Hitmen from New York. And then you got the Orlando Pain and the K-Town Predators, as destiny would have it, folks. The 2 best teams in the league right now, duking it out in the final week of the year. Or the final week before the playoffs, I should say. 10-2 are the Pain, 8-4 are the Predators. The Predators have been coming off of a 2-game losing streak. The Pain, I believe, just lost or won, I'm not even sure. But, like I said, heavyweight matchup of the week. We'll keep a lookout on this one. And now let's get up into the trophies. Trophies go a little something like this. This is what I was doing last week while we missed out on the Fantasy Flex. Made some trophies, you know what I'm saying, trying to spice up the league and do a little bit of this and that. Now, they go a little something like this. The airing it out trophy is going out to the quarterback that has the most yards in Week 12. That man would be Drew Brees, and the owner of Drew Brees would be the Florida Sharks, myself. The Steve Young trophy will go to the quarterback that had the most amount of points, or the most points. That's going out to Tom Brady and his fucking 40 points to the Tallahassee Expendables. So shout out to Matt Noon for destroying me last week. And like I said before, fucking up my Thanksgiving, at least before dinner. I was like buried by like 98 points before turkey was even on the table, son. Stop that train. Running back with the most yards this week is going to Jamal Charles and the K-Town Predators. The Emmitt Smith trophy goes out to the running back that had the most points. That's going out to Peyton Hillis and Mr. Woodruff of the Woodruff for Peyton Hillis' 42 points in last week's matchup. The wide open trophy is for the wide receiver who had the most yards. That's going out to the Hitman, who had Dwayne Bowe and his 170 yards on the field. Pretty much that's staying right where it's at too, because the next trophy after that would be the Jerry Rice trophy. That's going out to the wide receiver who had the most points, and that would also be Dwayne Bowe because he put up 35. The It's Good trophy, that's going down to Garrett Hartley because he kicked a 50-yard field goal. Nobody owned the guy Bueller from the Cowboys, so the next in line would have been Garrett Hartley. The owner of Mr. Hartley would be Mr. Hodges, owner of the Lake Greats. So you get a trophy for that. It's all good. Sweeten the deal. This is the Fantasy Flex, best part of the show. Now you got the Laces Out trophy. We had 2 of those to give out this week. That basically went out because we had 2 kickers that were tied. Those 2 owners were the Lake Greats and the Giants. Both of their kickers, Garrett Hartley and David Akers, both scoring 15 points on the week. It's normally when you have like dudes that are tied or players that are tied, you know, where it's like a 3-way tie where I won't hand out the trophy. But if it's 2 people that are tied for the trophy, I'll hand it out, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a dick like that. Now, the Shut It Down trophy, that's going out to the team that put up the most points as far as defense. That's going to the Florida Sharks and the Jets defense, who put up 31 points last week. And now we go up to this week's Fantasy Freak Award. This is the award that gets, you know what I'm saying, posted up on the league. Whoever put up the most amount of points. This week, putting up 188 points is going out to the Tampa Bay Bulls. So they get the Fantasy Freak Award this week. Shout out to Michael Nappy on that one. You know what I'm saying? I know you missed the draft, but you did a hell of a thing. You know, a hell of a way to turn it around at the end of the year. The Wake Up the Offense trophy this week is going to the Orlando Pain, who had 100 points this week as far as total offense. This week's Goliath would be the Tampa Bay Bulls, once again, who was also the Fantasy Freak. for having the best win. He beat the K-Town Predators by 88 points. And our final trophy would be the Shitty Week Trophy of the Golden Toilet Bowl. That's going out to the K-Town Predators, who goes hand in hand with the Week Goliath Trophy because he got his ass beat by the Tampa Bay Bulls by 88 points. I think the score was like 100 to 188 or something like that. And that was the Fantasy Flex.